what is today all about? Well, you're in luck because, like I said, it's a really fun one. These are real products. So these are products, and I've surveyed the Zonguru team, and there's some really funny ones in there. These are real products that we have either gone through sampling for, done our research on, and really thought, hey, this might be something we want to go ahead with. And like I said, be respectful. These products span a very, very long time period. So I've included a few in there from myself that I looked at in the very early days, and you can see, learn from my mistakes. There's some really obvious red flags in some of these ones, so it's a good learning experience. Okay, I'm just having a look who's in the chat. Lots of Aussies today. Oh, we've got Celeste from the Philippines. Awesome. Cool. Hey, Peter, Stephen. This is great. We've got a lot of people on the call today. I think we're going to have some really fun interaction. So what are we going to learn? So this is really, really fun, but it's also a massive learning tool because, like anything, sometimes you've got to kiss a few frogs before you find that prince. And we all hear about those success stories, about those apparently overnight wins, and it just doesn't work that way. There's a lot of work that goes in the background to getting that successful product. And I'm hoping from today, you can learn from a few mistakes. I don't like calling them mistakes because they're not mistakes if you learn from them, but it can identify things to look for, and maybe those red flags will pop up a bit quicker. So this is going to be a good one. Also, what are the golden rules when you are product researching? What should you look for? And I just want to preface that by saying there is no such thing as 100% perfect niche. Everybody's looking for something slightly different, but there are some general guidelines that are really going to help. So I'm going to go through those. And how do you go about finding and validating those niches, plus a few little hacks that I think are really relevant to 2021. Things are moving super fast. What worked a year ago is a little bit outdated. So we need to move with the times. And there's a few things on there that I think maybe you might be new. It might spark some new ideas that others aren't thinking about. Gives you an opportunity to get in there early. So, and of course, Q&A. We love our Q&A. So, oh, great. Well, there's lots of people in the chat. I love it. So, do we want to see what the first product is? And again, like I said, these are real products that people from the team have looked at one point in time. And what I want to do is I'll show it to you. We'll run through a few little facts about it. And then I really want that interaction. I want you to tell me what you think might be wrong with this product, why it might stop you from pushing forward. So the first one, are we ready? Metallic tattoos. Has everyone seen these before? Going back a few years now, everyone from Bondi to Byron was wearing these. Real hipster item. It was very fashionable. You can see that the cogs, super cheap product. And again, they're paper thin. It's the sheet of paper with some temporary metallic tattoos on there, 10 cents a sheet. So really cheap product. And they're retailing at the moment for about $9.50 on Amazon US for 12 sheets. So with that's quite a really, really healthy markup there. But what issues could you potentially see with a product like this? So again, it's lightweight, so it'd be super easy to ship. It's non-perishable. The markups, very healthy, but there's a few really major red flags here. I'm just wondering if anyone can see what they are before we go through. So I'll just check on the chat. Cool, there's some new names in here as well, which is nice to see. We've got Sue from Queensland, another Queenslander. I'm from the Gold Coast, so it's always, hope you're enjoying the good weather. We've got Madeline from Perth. All right, so let's see what could potentially be a deal breaker. Yes, Phoebe nailed it straight off the bat. So it's really important to make sure that you're and again, the second thing, Miki, we've got some really sharp minds in here. It's too cheap. It's way too cheap. So to make it worth your while, you really want at least $20 to $25, ideally $25 or higher for your retail price. You want to make sure there's enough room in there to make it worth your while. And this was a really trend product. It was like a fidget spinner. It came out, everyone had them for the summer, and then they've really phased out. And I do know people who made an absolute bomb making these and selling them, but short-lived. And, you know, we're there to create long-term sustainable businesses. You're not going to do that with the products like this. So trend product, nailed it. Price point, too low. And yeah, Stephen, super competitive. There's no differentiation. It's competitive. Everybody's selling the same standard sheets. There's nothing to distinguish one seller from another. So interestingly, I had a look yesterday. These are still selling on Amazon. You know, the average seller's making about $2,000, I think, a month off these, give or take. Keeping in mind it is the US winter, so I haven't checked on sales by, but I would expect that to spike during their summer months when there's more festivals. COVID probably heavily impacted this, but definitely one I would steer clear on, even though it ticks the boxes of being light and easy to ship, and you know, your storage fees are going to be super low. It really doesn't meet these key things. And back to that price point, the reason why you want a healthy price point is once you factor in things like PPC, which is your advertising spend, you're not going to be left with anything in your pocket. You're there to make money, to make a long, sustainable business. This one just doesn't do it. Although it looks cool, it's fashionable, not good. All right, we ready for the next one? So, and I think I've picked three of my three favorites that I surveyed from the group. Now, there was others. There was different jewelry, blue light blocking glasses. There was also things like shower speakers. But you can see I've tried to pick some that are a little bit different. Now, product number 2, has anyone seen anything like this before? I'll go onto the actual Amazon page so you can get a better look at it. It's essentially a beach bag, but it's got handles so you can put it on your back. It's got the compartments, everything you need for the beach, but then it's also got this cooler compartment at the bottom where you can, you know, store your cold drinks and food. They've even got sushi on there. I don't know who eats sushi at the beach, but, you know, that's something that could be done. And then this lifestyle image I thought was quite cool because she's wearing it on her back, leaving her hands free to hold a child's hand. Maybe she's got a surfboard. It's functional. You know, it's doing a lot of things very well. It looks very well made. This one has 65-star reviews. So obviously it's doing everything right. I've got a few questions with this one. What do you think the problems or the potential red flags would be selling a product like this? And also, just out of curiosity, what do you think the sales are for this product? So again, it's kind of a do-it-all backpack. They're kind of marketing towards a beach bag, but it's obviously a cooler as well. Stephen nailed it. Seasonal. It's seasonal. You know, especially in the US, you know, you have those extreme weather patterns. It's only going to be selling for part of the year. So managing your inventory is a massive issue with this one. Not only do you need to make sure that it's in stock at the right times, but you don't want to be left holding stock through those winter months. It's just going to cost you money. Again, seasonal, you're really onto it. But there's a few other things with this one. Yeah, yeah. Even though they're doing it really well, they've got high ratings. It's obviously a very well thought out product. And I'm not sure if anyone can hazard a guess at what their sales are, but if we launch the Chrome extension, we'll just have a look. Sorry, my computer's struggling with all my different tabs. Yeah, they're not ranking at the moment for anything. I'll just leave that to load a few more seconds. When I checked yesterday, they're not selling. They're not making any sales, as you'd expect in the middle of winter, in the middle of a pandemic. This is struggling to load at the moment with all my different tabs and things, so I'll just close that down. But the other issues I saw with this one, and again, the COGS are quite reasonable, so it's not so much the cost itself. Seasonal, caps, exclamation marks. We want to stay away from seasonal, but it is a complex design. Although these guys are doing it well, there's lots of areas where it can go wrong if you are thinking about getting into a product similar to this. There's zippers that can bust, the cooler compartments can leak. They're dealing with mesh, which is a very flimsy material. Although there's not moving parts, there's a lot of parts where it can go wrong. And all it takes is one dodgy component on a shipment, and all of a sudden you've got a lot of 1-star reviews, and yeah, you're gone. It's also a fashionable item, and you might argue with me a little bit about this, but if you're using the keyword beach bag, if you search for that, it is quite a fashionable thing that people look for. It's something that they're carrying on themselves. It represents, a little bit about their personality. It does have a component of wanting to be fashionable, which is always difficult because as soon as you go into that realm, you tend to be competing with a lot of big name brands. It can be, again, seasonal in terms of people's taste change. It's super difficult. And this category as well, if I search on Amazon for the phrase beach bag, it is ridiculously competitive. The average ratings are over 11,000. So again, even though this particular seller has 65-star reviews, that's up against 11,000. They're nowhere near page one for that main keyword, and they'll probably stay that way because it's a very closely held category. And I think with a product like this, and again, I think they're doing it very well, but people don't know to search for a beach bag with a cooler and backpack straps. They're doing so many different things that people don't know it exists. So they're not searching for it. It can be very hard to find them. And interestingly, I had a look on Alibaba just to see what was around, and look what I found. The exact same bag. I'll just wait for this to load. Hang in there, Wi-Fi. Even the photos, they've completely taken that seller's photos and they've just cleared out their logo, even down to the lifestyle picture. So anyone, there's no barrier to competition here in terms of anyone can jump on and start selling that exact same product, just popping their logo on it. Which makes me think still stay well away from this particular type of product. So super interesting. You can see here $4.20. They're selling it at the moment for I think $36 from memory. But yeah, it's just interesting to see sometimes those exact products straight off Alibaba there as well. So very interesting one. All right, the next one is my personal favorite and one I actually looked into doing, and I still think it has some really solid potential, and I'll tell you why I put this one back on the shelf. Well, I'll let you see first what it is. Shower steamers. Has anyone heard of this product before? It was a bit new to me. So shower steamers are essentially bath bombs for your shower. They're infused with essential oils, aromatherapies. You pop them in the bottom of your shower and the steam releases all that goodness. It has become quite popular during COVID times with more of us being at home and focusing on that self-care aspect. I have seen a spike. The markup is quite healthy. This can vary quite a lot depending on how they are made and obviously packaged, and I'll go into that in a moment. But this one in particular, it's retailing just shy of $30. So I might need to show you the niche to really get a gauge of what it's looking like in the market. So this was for private label, just to clarify. So this is what it looks like at the moment. There are a lot of this type here in the gift boxes. They are straight off Alibaba. These sellers have not done any sort of differentiation or clever packaging or anything like that. These ones here obviously stand out because they are a little bit different. And as you can see, there's just more of the same. And I'm sure you all want to see the stats. let's hope my internet holds out on this one. So as you can see, they're all very similar. The reviews are very high. So that would definitely be an issue. But can anyone see where there might be a problem with this one? I'll just let that load. And I have been, I entered these sellers here into SalesSpy within the ZonGuru platform because I thought it would be really interested to look at these ones as well because they're fairly new. These guys launched their first scent in July. This one followed closely after, and they have just released a new one in November. So this one here. So as you can see, they're slowly bringing out different ones to the market as they are, I guess, validated and monetized through. Yeah, there's definitely issues with the composition, personal taste, absolutely. Beck, that's a very key one. So, you know, what's going to appeal to somebody? You probably need to do a lot of research around, you know, maybe some market research, what people are looking for. Yes, baby, there are some really low ball prices in here. So you're competing with $15. You know, how do you put that high price point on there? How do you justify it? How do you make yours jump off that phase? Stephen, is it a fad? Yeah, is it a fad? Is it sticking around? You know, bath bombs have been around for, I don't think they're going anywhere now, but maybe these are a fad during those times of COVID. Definitely something to consider. As you can see, it's got a very healthy niche score here, but the one where it falls short, competition, it is highly competitive based on that average ratings count. So there are some very experienced sellers who have been here for some time. The average monthly revenue, though, for page one is 33,000, which is it's solid. The search volume is very high. So there's a lot of ticks here, which is what caught my eye initially. And the launch budget, I've seen this slowly creep up. When I started looking at this niche, it was hovering around the 12,000, but it's creeping up as the search volume and monthly revenue creeps up as well, because it's based on the amount of inventory you would need to get to page one and stay there for 3 months. So it's an interesting one, as you can see. Now, if I flick back, the main problem I had with this one, well, there's two, the ability to differentiate. How do I be different to what's on there already? Because in terms of functionality, I struggled to find a way that I would be providing a different benefit to the others out there. It really came back to how it's packaged, how it's marketed. And I didn't feel like that was a big enough moat to protect my private label product to the others out there. I couldn't differentiate enough. You know, you're clever people, you might find a different way, but I kind of kept coming back to the packaging aspect of it. And oops, let's go back. I did find this one, and this is through, you know, going down the Google search. And these guys here, I kind of liked, because it's a very gifty product. When I was doing my research, I noticed that it's something that people do tend to gift a lot. I liked the idea of it opening up like a book. There's a cute little message here, and you can see the product inside. So slightly different, but like I said, it wasn't enough to really push me ahead of the competition there, and extremely difficult to formulate the right scent. So, you know, I am in Australia, I'm dealing with a factory very far away, trying to communicate something like a scent. I hadn't obviously come across that barrier before. It was very hard. With other products I've done, you can provide technical drawings, you can, you know, images, a photo speaks 1,000 words. A scent is really, really hard, especially when you're dealing with something with ingredients and, you know, what is the quality, where is it from? That was a massive barrier. But like I said, the numbers do stack up on this one. If you're clever and can find a way to differentiate, check to see that it's not a fad. That's definitely important. let's jump into the ZonGuru platform and SalesSpy. I don't know how many people are familiar with this tool, but it basically checks the historical trend of a product, how a product's been selling over time. So I've selected the last 1 year. These products haven't been available for a year, but it's going to go back as far as it can in that 1 year period. So it's already giving me the average monthly revenue over that time. Remember I said this only started, I think it was July, and July. So you can see they've been in stock. These troughs, I can almost bet my life that this is when they ran out of stock. So you can see they're having trouble maintaining constant inventory, but even so, they're now averaging 68,000 in revenue a month off that one product. Remember, they've got 3. This one's doing 66, and this one that just launched mid-November from memory, start of November, end of October, they're doing 12. So definitely making a very, very healthy living out of shower steamers simply by changing up the way it's presented. This brand really does stand off their page simply because they've put it in a pouch rather than a box like everyone else. But I think if you're going to enter this category now, you'd need to do something even more. It's just not enough, in my opinion, to really differentiate product. So I hope you guys find that one interesting, and I'd love to hear any thoughts you have about the shower steamers, or if anyone's actually brought this product before, because I hadn't heard of it. And I did find this using the ZonGuru Niche Finder. So we'll get to that in a moment. So what are the golden rules for product researching? And I use the word rules loosely because, like I said, we're all looking for different things. So hopefully from those 3 examples, we've learnt a few things. You want your price point above $25 just to make sure that it is worth your while. You're getting enough profit out of it after PPC, Amazon takes their share. You know, all it takes is for a blowout in your shipping or something like that where you're forking over more than you expected, and then your profit margin's gone. You want it preferably small and lightweight. It will cost you less in storage fees. It will cost you less to get there. Ideally, no moving parts. No additional complex things on there that you don't want to be worried about things breaking in transit or just breaking down in general. The obvious ones, no fashionable items or seasonal products. Some people are very comfortable dealing in seasonal products. It can be super hard to manage your inventory, especially with COVID and things like that, with everything slowing down. All it takes is a slight deviation in your time frame and you've missed your peak season. That's it for the year. It can be really, really stressful. Personally, I look for a product generating 10,000 or more in monthly revenue. If it's less than this, it can be, it might be a little pocket money niche. It might be perfect for someone just starting out with a low budget, but I want to see a healthy return. And again, it feeds into this one, profit margin target of 30%. So I want 30% of that sale price ending up in my pocket. And arguably the most important, ability to differentiate. Like, who wouldn't buy this spaghetti strainer over the others? It's different. They're creating a moat around their product. It means it's less likely to be the competition. You're in your own category, essentially. You're different. You're striking. You're there on page 1. I think that's super cool. Anything where you can be the unicorn on the page, go for it. So how do you find these niches? Now, we probably all have a few different tips and tricks. The way that I do it is I go through Niche Finder first. It's one of my favorite tools, and it does exactly as its name suggests. It's an ideas generation machine. It's not the one-stop shop. It just really expands the possibilities and your mind to the potential of what niches are out there. And you can filter it to say, hey, my budget is this. Don't show me anything that is outside of that. Saves a huge amount of time by narrowing in on what you're looking for. And from there, you can dive into the details. So say you find your shower steamers on Niche Finder, you can then start looking at that on the Chrome extension to see how is it tracking right now on Amazon? What does the competition look like? can I differentiate this product? If you get a tick in that category, you move on to sales by to say, is the product seasonal? You know, what's the trends? Is this impacted by COVID? You know, sometimes products are seasonal that you wouldn't expect. It's always worthwhile doing that sales by step just to make sure you're not caught out. Especially, what was I looking at yesterday? Garden herbs. I would have thought that's, and the gardeners out there might be laughing at me right now, I wouldn't have thought that's seasonal. It spikes dramatically around Christmas. Apparently it's a very gifty item. I wouldn't have suspected that. So once you've gone through that stage, you should have a fair idea if the niche is something you want to pursue. And that's when you dive into things like love, hate, and getting your differentiation right. So just give me a little heads up if you want me to dive into what a niche finder session might look like. And I can do that. Otherwise, I'll give you some tips on ways to differentiate. Sylvia, yes, there will be a replay of this. An hour from now, you'll get an email with a link where you can replay it. It's also in our FAQ articles, and I'll hang around to make sure that if you do have any questions, I know I speak fast. If I've gone over anything too quickly, I'll be here at the end to help you out. So I might go into some of the differentiation things then. Because remember, we want to be different. And this is a good example here, and we use this one quite a bit because it's so cool. It's an avocado, the little nut seed in the middle pops out, so it becomes a beach ball. I know that if I was in the market to buy a pool float, I would be going this one every single time. It's a no-brainer. So the old way of finding differentiation ideas is, you know, you would go to your bricks and mortar stores, you would walk around the aisles, you would see what's there. I mean, that's great. And again, you probably find that you get little snippets from different places. Pinterest has always been a really big one, and Google, of course, is the coverall. That was the typical way. But in 2021, and, you know, I'm really out of date with this, but TikTok is actually really good for finding product ideas. And it's so new and fresh that you're seeing things that you may not see in other places. The products on here may not filter into the bricks and mortar stores for some time, especially if you're in different locations. You know, and Etsy has had a massive surge, and good old Instagram, you can't go wrong with that. Just as an example, I typed in dog bed to Etsy yesterday. I didn't do anything other than that. And you can already see, I don't know if this one's coming up very clearly, it's actually a cup of noodles shaped in a dog bed. Have I frozen? Am I back? I'll just wait until I get the okay. Let me know. I've got strong signal. Let me shut down some other tabs. Let me know if I'm back online. Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. Woohoo. Okay, so you can see on Etsy already is this dog bed. Doesn't look very comfortable to me, but it's a good idea generation in terms of it's a cup of noodles and the dog sits in there. It's super cute. You've got dog houses. I haven't seen anything like that before. This is very beautiful. That you know, it's so visually pleasing. That's a nice one. You know, there's all sorts that you wouldn't see elsewhere. I mean, I can almost visualize the type of dogs that would be in these photos. It's very cool. So that's just Etsy, but then Instagram, same sort of thing. You know, you search by those hashtags, you can get all sorts of cool things. Like it's a real bed, but for dogs. You know, as an idea generation machine, a way to be different, you take those niche finder ideas, you validate them using the Zonguru tools, and then you set to work really getting creative and out there. And I might be pushing the boundaries with our friendship, but think about getting on TikTok, think about looking on Instagram and getting those ideas that you won't find typically elsewhere. So I have just blasted through that training, but that's good because it means we've got lots of time at the end for any questions or anything you want me to run through. So what I might do is just dive in to a niche finder session. But in the meantime, feel free to shoot any questions through that you've got. So Roma, there's definitely a replay of this. You'll get a link within an hour with a replay link. Otherwise, you will be able to find it in FAQ articles, or just drop a line to support. They're on it and they'll send you a link straight away. So Niche Finder, this is the one I talked about before, where it really just gets you started. It helps to see what's out there. I would recommend going straight to the advanced mode. Easy mode's great, but I think from the quality of the contribution and answers I've seen from this room, you're all advanced users. So with Niche Finder, Rebecca's just asked what scores I look for. So everybody is going to be different here. Now, with this, for myself personally, you can see some of the filters I've preset. I want my average product price to be a minimum of $25. I want my average ratings to be a maximum of 800, and I want my average monthly revenue to be at least 10,000. They are usually my non-negotiables. I'm flexible on ratings depending on the category. The other thing that I would recommend putting in is the launch budget. So maybe 20,000, that can be 2,000, it can be whatever you want. And the other thing I usually adjust is the niche score. So this is what a typical search for me would look like. You've then got the option to include or exclude keywords. So you can see in here, Christmas, COVID, mask, Halloween are all in there. So depending on the time of year, Easter's coming up, maybe I would put in some Easter words there that I want to exclude because, again, I don't want that seasonality. And then what category I'm interested in. So this can be a fun one to play around with because there's sometimes some hidden gems in some of the less popular categories. A lot of people go straight to kitchen and dining, home and kitchen, pet supplies, sports and outdoors. They're really popular ones. But maybe we go to patio, lawn and garden today, click search. And within a few moments, we've got our list of niches. Now, I can sort these by whatever column is most important to me. It will be preset to filter by niche score, but say demand was the most important factor to me, I can reorganize this so that the highest demand niches appear first. Indoor herb garden. This is, I think, the one I was looking at the other day. So these sets are really cute. And I think we've covered this before on our Instagram and one of our other trainings. But I've actually noticed it might be this seller here. They've gone on to develop an entire range of products. So not only do they have an indoor herb garden, I think they have an indoor flower garden, an indoor veggie garden. They've expanded. So their brand now is so big, and they've just they've got their supply chain obviously in place. They've got their branding. They're just switching up the seeds, and they are doing really well out of that. And it's a perfect example of creating a long-term sustainable business. They're creating a brand. And they were one of the first to do this really beautiful packaging. You can see they've got a few copycats now. But the data that the niche finder gives you, you've got your niche score here, all your key 4 categories that comprise the rainbow. But then underneath, and I don't know if many people look at this, you've got so much data from search volume to what, where is it, the PPC bid cost for this keyword is. You know, how many of the competitors have the keyword in the title? What's the average listing strength? Everything is there for you to take a look at. And if I like this, all I need to do, I can favorite to come back to it later. I can send it to another tool. or I can open it straight away on the Chrome extension, which is your Amazon platform, and have a look to get a better idea of all the competition for that keyword. So there are these guys here. And I'll see if I can bring up some of their other products because I thought it was done really well. Rick's just asked if I do one-on-one coaching. I don't. I'm here in the live trainings, though, very regularly, once a fortnight. John and Eric are the other trainers. They're all super knowledgeable, multi-six-figure sellers. They know what they're doing as well. But we really are here to support. So if you do have questions along the way, drop me a line now, reach out to support. I also help out and support, so you can specifically ask for me in there and I'll get that ticket. So Stephen's just asked, can Listing Optimizer allow text and HTML code? We don't at the moment, but I will definitely mention that too, because that's quite cool, because I know exactly what you mean. These guys probably won't show it because I'm sure they've got EBC. EBC is enhanced brand content, which is this additional, I guess, retail space at the bottom where they showcase their product. For people who don't have enhanced brand content, you have an option of having a description box, and using HTML code, you can bold things, you can insert paragraph separators and just make it visually appealing. And it can be a bit frustrating to have to navigate that. So totally appreciate that comment, Stephen, and I will mention it. Andre, yes, the niche scores. Let's dive into it for this one. And I apologize, it's really struggling with all my screens. Let me shut down some more of these, hopefully free it up. So the niche, when you hear the word niche rater, that's the rainbow that appears at the bottom here in the Chrome extension. And it's supposed to be a really quick visual guide to the niche. It really cuts down on some of that analysis time for you. And it's broken into 4 key components. So you've got buyer demand, which is an obvious one. It's what's the demand for the product. Let me just wait for this one to load. And you've also got that in here as well. So this is your niche score. So maybe I'll just run from it on here. If you're not sure what any of them mean, you can hover over it at any stage. So this is the demand for this keyword, and it looks at things like the exact search volume. So how many times a month are people actually putting in this exact keywords? And you can see here the buyer demand for this one is really high. It's a popular product. People are wanting it. Competition on this one is 13%. So competition looks at a number of factors, how strong are the listings of your competitors and how many ratings do they have? How hard is it going to be to crack into this category? So 13% indicates that it's definitely a challenge. It's a tough one. You might need a bit of a budget behind you to spend on advertising to really get to page 1. These guys know what they're doing. You can see 2,000 reviews. There's a few little ones on there, 3,000 reviews, 1,000. You're competing with established sellers. So investment potential, investment sweet spot. This one gets a lot of people stuck. They're not quite sure what it means. Essentially, overall, the higher the percentage, the better for every category. The investment is the dollars that it's going to take for you to create this product and have enough inventory in stock for 3 months to stay on page 1. And it's based on the idea that investment between 10 to 15,000 is the ideal amount to give you a great return. So the closer to the 10 to 15,000 investment requirement this is, the higher this figure will be. So if you have a niche that costs, 90,000 to break into, you'll notice that this figure is very low. So the further away that initial investment is from 10 to 15K, the lower this will be. And of course, revenue potential, the estimated profit that this product can drive. So that includes the sales velocity. 79% is super high. So this is a great niche for anyone who's not afraid of a bit of competition and can think differently. Back to that differentiation, you really want to have a different offering to this, solve a pain point that these guys just aren't doing. So I hope that helps. Stephen, link to your wonderful. Yes, so ZonGuru has this amazing blog. And it can be a bit lost in the scenes because there is so much content. It's actually on the ZonGuru website itself. But my key thing would be subscribe to our newsletter, because we'll always put front and center any hot topics at the very top that we think are super relevant to anyone starting or running an Amazon business. So that will link you straight through to the blog. Save it in your favorites. There's always great content there, and there's one going out today. So if you're not registered for the newsletter, now's your chance. Just sign up, and I'll make sure that gets to your inbox. Thank you for the kind words, Bibi. So brand registry. So if you have a product, so I'm just reading the question. No. So the way brand registry works, and it's tied to trademarks, I just did a really comprehensive blog on this, so I'll send you the link. It's actually, you register your trademark. Once you've got that trademark registered, Amazon recognizes you as a brand, and they let you showcase your products, just like I showed you before with that enhanced content at the bottom of the page. So we click into this one, you've got that additional space for photos, call outs, extra text. So this is what enhanced brand content looks like. It's only available to people who are brand registered. Brand registry is only available to people who have trademarks. So it is a bit confusing with the process. When you trademark a product, you must nominate what your product category is. So, for example, if I was selling water bottles, I would fall into the water bottle kitchen category or whatever it might be. And that's what my trademark would apply to. Amazon doesn't typically know what you're trademarked for and what you're not. All they recognize is that you are trademarked. So you could potentially list it for a separate category, but you wouldn't have those trademark protections there. But you could showcase your EBC. So what I'll do is I'll send the blog through to you, because it does cover all of that and will explain it much more succinctly than what I am right now. But to get the full protection of what a trademark offers and enhanced brand content, it's worthwhile extending that trademark to cover all the categories you're selling in, and for the marketplace you're selling in as well. It's definitely it takes a little bit of maneuvering and to understand that process, but it's well worthwhile. It not only increases trust, brand awareness, but people get a better feel for your products. You've got more space. This gives you a little bit, but like I said, pictures speak 1,000 words. These guys haven't made full use of their EBC. It's actually a pretty poor use of it, but some people really showcase their products so beautifully in that section, and it just converts like nothing else. So let me find that now. I will stop sharing while I go and do that. And if anyone has any other questions in the meantime, shoot them through. It's definitely possible to rank on page 1 without EBC. PPC, you're paying to get to page 1. They have a program called, my brain's not capable of doing 2 things at once today, a bit like my computer. All right, so I'm just going to drop the link for brand registry. There's 2. So this one is what the benefits of brand registry provide. The next one is all about how you go about getting your trademarks. But PPC is essentially you're paying your way to page 1. And the idea is that once you start converting on those keywords, you'll organically start to rank as well. But that's where clever listing copy really, really helps out too. No worries, Beck. I've just got to find the other one. I should know where it is because I wrote it. But I will find that. And yeah, of course, we're always here to help, and we're a team of, we're mostly made up of sellers. So we know exactly the headaches and trials and things that you go through, and reach out to support if you're ever stuck with a tool or just a quick question or anything at all. We're always there to help. So Rick's just said he's got a quote for $3,500 for brand registration. That's definitely on the high side. I'm wondering what else that would potentially include. Is that just, when you say AUD, is that within Australia, or have they done one for the US as well? Be really interested to see exactly what's included in that quote, because it does seem very, very high. We did a podcast with Trademark Angel recently, and I think the guide that she said was around the $1,000 mark. But again, I'm probably not comparing apples with apples. I'm sure you're getting something extra in that price. I'm in Australia. With my background, I actually do my own. It's not a very difficult. I don't recommend it for everybody, but if you've just got very simple, it's not as hard to navigate as what it might be. So it's only USA brand registry. Okay, so then it might be worth raising the question, Rick, exactly what's involved in that. I'm just taking down a few emails and names, because I'll get back to you, Rick, with that podcast episode and a link to Trademark Angel. They might be able to help you out there. All right, guys. Well, I've taken up a good chunk of your time this morning or afternoon or wherever you're dialing in from. And really, yeah, Rick, I do. Trademark Angel would be who I would look at there. They're really good. Okay, email automator. So there should be in your, there's 3 tabs. There's one that's pending and then one that's sent. And it has, it should show you all the ones that are sent or pending. I can connect with you after. I'll have a quick look to see if there's anything going on in the back end, but there's 3 tabs there, and it will show you your open rates when they're sent. There is an issue with Amazon at the moment. If you're not including your 17 order ID, they're not letting your emails through. So that might be something to check as well. If you don't have that order ID on the email, they're stopping it. So I would check that, and I'll have a look in the back end as well for you. And I think that's it for me, guys. I wish you all the best, and hopefully see you on the next one.